Welcome to the Real Business Lifetime Lessons podcast, where Carolina business leaders get real about growth, grit, and leadership. I'm Carol Willard, and this is Keys to Growth, insight from real estate professionals who are building businesses, shaping communities, and unlocking success. This podcast, I'm joined by Connor Wick, a Marine Corps veteran turned real estate professional serving the Charlotte metropolitan area. After 8 years in the Marines, Connor brought his discipline, dedication, and people first approach into real estate, focusing on building trusted, long term relationships with clients during one of life's biggest transitions. Originally from Asheville, Connor understands the challenges of moving and is passionate about helping families make the Charlotte area home. I'm excited to dive into this journey, the trends he's seeing, and this fast growing market and the lessons he's learned along the way. Connor, you spent 8 years in the Marine Corps before stepping into real estate. What was the transition like for you?
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. The transition was tough. It can be really hard to transition out of the Marine Corps, especially the longer that you're in, the tougher that transition can be. But I'm lucky enough to be able to hop right into a profession that I found purpose in and I could be passionate about. So it made it all that much easier.
Thank you for your service.
I appreciate that.
What skills or values from your military background have carried over into your real estate professionalism?
So many. Anyone who's currently in the military or has served in the military, they've really given you the tools to set you up for success outside of the military. It's really a question of whether or not you're willing to use them or you are paying attention enough to learn them. Some of the ones worth mentioning are discipline, I would say, is a big one. One, self-discipline. You got to be on top of yourself when you're a real estate broker, especially. It's very similar to running your own business, which I also do. So you have to be able to stay on top of yourself in order to succeed and stay on top of the market for your clients. Another good one's loyalty, leadership skills are some more. But like I was saying in the past, there's so many tools that they give you that they line you up with if you choose to take advantage of it.
What inspired you to choose real estate over other career paths after service?
Well, I had a couple family members that were in real estate in North Carolina that were telling me how great they were doing and how much they loved it. And that really sparked my interest. And from there, it took off from me because something that's important for me is that I'm able to be passionate about what I do. I think that there's a certain level of enjoyment I need to have. And I was able to find that through real estate because I'm helping families move during one of the most important transitions of their life. And that's something that I latched onto immediately.
So you've seen a lot of growth in the Charlotte metropolitan area. What trends are you noticing with people moving here?
That's a great question. So there's a lot. First of all, Charlotte is one of the number one and hottest real estate markets to be in today. Regardless of where you're from in the United States, we're experiencing a lot of exponential growth when it comes from business, tech jobs, banking, and then out-of-state movers. Typically, what I see is a lot of growth in South Charlotte from businesses, but in general, Charlotte's growing a lot due to people moving from Florida and surrounding states, New York and surrounding states, California and surrounding states for the lower cost of living and opportunity that comes along with it.
Are there any specific neighborhoods or communities that have become especially popular to newcomers?
Yes, absolutely. I would say primarily from what I've seen is the South Charlotte area. The South Charlotte area is booming. Not only is that's where the majority of businesses are expanding or moving to, which is creating hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of jobs, and people are fleeing to that area right now.
So is there always something to do in Charlotte?
There is, yes. Yeah, I personally don't get out that much. I work a lot, and then I spend time with my wife and children. That's about it. But there is a bunch to do.
I will come from Columbia sometimes up to Charlotte because there's so many things there that we just don't have here.
Like what?
Cheesecake Factory. I'm a total foodie, and so we don't have one here yet. And the other one, the one that we do have in South Carolina, is in Greenville. And sometimes just hopping up 77 and going right to exit 5 in Charlotte is so much easier. If I'm not catching flights out of Charleston, I'm catching flights in Charlotte.
No, it's great. I mean, South Park's a great area. Not even including Uptown yet. South Park alone, there's so much to do. There's so many great restaurants, bars, you name it. Whatever you're into, I'm sure it probably has it.
NASCAR, football, soccer team, which soccer's kind of new to our region in general. That's yeah. So lots and lots of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the sports bring people there, and I'm a Panthers fan. I'm from North Carolina, so hopefully they do better this season, and we'll bring some more people to the area.
I hope so. Because I've got a couple people on my fantasy football team. So fingers crossed.
Yep.
It's my first year doing that. So I'm like, y'all treat me good. So you mentioned that you focus on relationships over transactions when we spoke earlier. How does that approach impact the client experience?
I think it ease the client experience. I think, in my opinion, if you are very transactional focused only, then the clients are going to have a completely different experience. It's going to be very evident what your priorities are. And majority of the time, it's not going to be providing world-class service to them and their families and getting them from point A to point B as efficiently as possible. So I think it has a huge impact. I think that it's something that you can use in order to set yourself up for success, not only for you to gain more referral business because they're going to love the job you did and you helped their family get from, whether they're moving out of state, whether they're need to sell, to contingent to buy, whatever the scenario is, you being able to work through it and put them first throughout the entire process, then regardless, I think that you're going to be good to.
One of the things that I love about my client base is being able to help those families. It's you help one person and then you get to help other people in their family. And that is definitely a rewarding experience.
It's so rewarding. Yeah, it's one of the best parts about the job. And I've made so many friends too doing it. I have clients that, I mean, I keep in touch with all my clients, and some of them aren't, to this day, like some of my close friends.
What's one of the most rewarding client stories you've had in your 2 years of real estate so far?
Most rewarding client experience. That's kind of a tough one. It's between two. There's two that come to mind being close to me because I'm a veteran. So earlier last year, around fall time, I was able to help a veteran out, Army veteran. I'm not going to give out any of his specific information or his name or anything like that, but him and his family are going through a rough time. They needed to move. They needed to get into this area. He was experiencing some pretty bad PTSD symptoms, and the location that they were currently in it just wasn't the right spot for them. And they desperately needed to move into a better home, a better location, better neighborhood, better city. So he's
Mhm.
closer to the VA in this area. So he's closer to those resources to be able to help him out through that tough time, especially being a veteran going through that circumstance. So I was able to get him into a home, and I still keep in touch with him. He actually just messaged me the other day, showed me some pictures of some updates he made of his home, and they're doing, it seems like, a lot better. So that's
Awesome.
got to be one of the big ones.
Mhm.
Another one was I helped a family out, a young couple with a kid. Their child was going through some medical issues, and they wanted a better place for them to stay while they were, going through that period of their life. And I helped them out, and it meant the world to them. So that was a good one for me too. Really meant a lot.
Do you get to help a lot of veterans in your real estate career?
I have actually. I've actually helped a surprising amount of veterans. I love when I have the opportunity to deal with any other, either active or previously enlisted or, military in general. I've worked with some active duty. I've worked with some veterans. It's always a great time. I feel like I get along great with all my clients, but the veterans especially, I feel like we just instantly click and we're able to talk about things together that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. And that is something I really enjoy doing. I'm actually in the middle of getting some certifications so I can specialize in helping veterans transitioning into our area.
So I love that you're able to do that. I know here in Columbia we do have a VA center, and it's so sad to see the homeless population of the veterans. And I just wish there were more people that were able to help them have safe housing.
But that's right. It's a huge issue. I mean, veteran homelessness and veteran suicide are, if you look at the statistics, both are very concerning. And any chance that I get to help out a fellow veteran, I obviously am going to jump on and look forward to it.
So moving can be stressful for families. How do you help ease that process for your client?
I mean, going back to one of the other questions that you asked, one of the things that I do is I put them first. I have a very much so client focused approach to genuinely look out for their best interests. And for the most part, take a pretty aggressive approach on my end in order to fight to get them the best deal. Because really that's what we're here for as agents. And, if you're not operating as a dual agent in the state of North Carolina, what your clients are hiring for and hoping for you to do is fight for them to get the best deal, whether it's on you're negotiating their home on the market with another buyer, or you're representing a buyer trying to purchase a home and you're trying to, get the best terms possible for them.
So, what are some of the biggest mistakes you see buyers or sellers making in today's market, and how can they avoid them?
Well, that's a really good question. Okay, so some of the biggest mistakes. So one of the biggest mistakes that I can tell you right now, first one that came to my head, is they are working with a real estate broker or firm that doesn't know what they're doing. And unfortunately, that's a lot of the business. But just to give the people who are viewing a little bit of context, the reason where that comes from, and I'm not here to talk bad about anyone by any means, but it's just a fact. It's the truth of the matter. And a lot of it is there's no shortage of real estate brokers in most areas. It's just that most of those licensed brokers are not actively practicing real estate. They got their license somewhere along the road because they thought it'd be nice to have, and it is nice to have. It's great. But that doesn't mean they're on top of the market. That doesn't mean they're working for the number one firm in the area and they're one of the top producing agents from said firm, right? So I think that that's a big mistake. We could boil that one down to not doing your homework. Just do a little bit of research. Doesn't take long. Right before, if you're going to a new restaurant you never been before, you're going to go to Google and look up the reviews. It's that simple. Just make sure you're working with someone who knows what they're doing.
And how did your time in the Marines shape your leadership style as an agent?
It shaped it in a lot of ways. I mean, not just as an agent, just full encompassing my time in the Marine Corps. That's really what we're about. That's, from the first day to the last day that you're in, however long that you spend, it doesn't matter. You're being taught to be a leader. You're being taught to lead by example. You're being taught the core values of the Marine Corps: honor, courage, commitment. And you're supposed to go forward with that ethos and lead in a positive direction. So it's really helped me out a lot, especially when it comes to working with so many different people, which is what you're going to encounter in real estate, right? And what the Marine Corps taught me that transitions really well outside to what I do now is you also are dealing with a mixing pot of people. There's people coming from all over the United States, from families that are from all over the world, and somehow they end up on my doorstep, especially when I was an instructor in my last contract in the Marine Corps. And you
Mhm.
really have to be able to analyze these people, and you have to be able to change and tailor your leadership style based off who you're dealing with. So you can be the most effective to them whenever you're helping.
I was fairly new to the industry. What has been the steepest learning curve so far?
I would say the steepest learning curve for me personally has probably been the paperwork compliance. The reason I say that is because I had the privilege of doing a lot of things in the military that gave me the tools necessary to be honest with you, create a very smooth transition into real estate and into business, right?
Mhm.
I was able to take those things that I was taught and those tools that I was given and apply them pretty much right off the bat, which made a lot of things really simple. For example, going in front of people. I'm not afraid to talk to people. I've had to teach classes when I was in the Marine Corps to anywhere from 1 to 400 students at a time, right on, and you're front and center on stage talking to all of them. So that was something that helped me with that. But just it never being, I've joined the military early on. So I worked at a restaurant for a little bit. I helped my mom manage one of her businesses that she used to have for a small time prior to the Marine Corps. But other than that, I have no business experience. I have absolutely zero real estate experience. So that was probably the biggest learning curve, was just learning the compliancy, all the documents, what's for what, and going through the steps when I was first becoming an agent to become efficient at that process.
What advice would you give someone considering a career in the residential real estate market?
The advice that I would give you if you are considering becoming an agent is, one, make sure you're in a market that you're going to enjoy doing the work in. Going back to something I talked about a little bit earlier, I think that it's important for everyone. And now, granted, there's balance with everything, but you need to enjoy what you do to a certain level. You need to be passionate about what you do to a certain level, because that really factors in your why. And the stronger your why is for whatever you're doing, the more effective you're going to be, the longer you're going to be able to do it at a high level, right? My advice would be, hey, make sure it's something you can get behind, make sure it's something that you can be passionate about. And from there, just put yourself in the thick of things. Put yourself in the thick of real estate, into the middle of the business, be as busy as possible, take as many clients as you can, go out there and be super aggressive. Because a lot of people in today's generation just don't have that aggressive factor. And that's what it takes. If you want to be a top performing agent, you want to push to that top 10, 5, 1% of performers, you have to be super aggressive. You have to become the expert, the subject matter expert. And the
Yeah.
quickest way to do that is to apply yourself, be practical, right? So jump in the middle of things.
You talked about know your why. What is your why?
My why is my family. I want to be able to take care of my family. I want to be able to help people move. I guess the biggest two things for me, what are my driving factors, is one, I want to be able to take care of and provide for my family the best I possibly can. And real estate is a vehicle that allows me to do that and get to that destination. And then number two being, I want to assist people. I want to help families. I know how much moving can suck, to be honest with you, and how difficult it can be. I've done it a bunch of times in the military, and I've had both people who are great that helped me through the process and made my life so much easier. And I've had people that weren't so great and they didn't really know what they were doing all the way and they made things really difficult. So I've been on both sides of the playing field, and that's also something that, keeps me going. That's definitely.
Having been on that side of the bad part of moving and like having someone like royally drop the ball, like think it makes it so much easier to be that person for your clients when it comes time for them to like have that transition or make that move, and just knowing that they have that person in their corner who's already been through what they've been through. So that's a really awesome why that you have.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, you have to be genuine with it. That's the thing. You have to be genuine with it, but it can also help you relate to people. Just like in that circumstance, it helps me say, hey, I've been through this before and it's been great for me, depending on who I was working with. And it's been really bad. And who you hire matters when you're talking about buying real estate.
Yes, it does. What's one lesson you've learned in your business journey that surprised you?
That's a great question. I would say something that surprised me is something that's a little bit industry specific, company specific. One of the things that was difficult for me when transitioning out of the Marine Corps was letting go of the sense of community and the actual community that I had with being in the military. Something that's hard to let go of. And once you do, it's even harder to wave goodbye to it and see it in your rearview mirror because it's just not there anymore. It's something that's, I'm not saying that you can't find it outside of the military. You absolutely can. But I would say that's something that surprised me. I've been with some companies, the team I'm with now over at Stephen Cooley Real Estate, the company I was with prior to them, Dash Carolina. One of the things I'd like to credit both of those companies to is they have a great sense of community, specifically Stephen Cooley Real Estate, where I'm at now. We have a fantastic team. Everyone's there to support each other.
A team definitely makes a difference. When I came over to Lifetime, I had that team, and it has just made the biggest difference in my life. I love knowing that, like, if I have a problem with that I can't answer in the middle of the day, like I know who I'm calling.
Yeah, you have someone that's going to help you out. It does make a huge difference. And that can go back to like anyone who's deciding to get in the industry too. Make sure you go with someone where you're going to be able to get some backing and, a great mentor to teach you. That's huge.
It really is. And before changing industries, I didn't know, I didn't understand the importance of mentorship. And now I'm like, that was important.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Super important. I mean, I'm not saying that no one can get to where they want to be or achieve their goals without it. But I mean, you want to talk about efficiency, you want to talk about guaranteed, take out the guessing work. You're gonna get from here to here so much quicker if you have a mentor.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. How do you personally measure success?
I personally measure success by your ability to provide for the people who are counting on you. That's how I measure success. And on top of that, I think another good addition would be to what are the things that you've set your mind on and how many of those things have you actually been able to accomplish, right? So I think for me personally, it's a measure of the things that I've actually made up my mind that I'm going to do. Am I doing them? Am I doing them how I wanted to when I set these goals? I think that that's a good measure of success. And I think your ability to provide for the people who are counting on you is a great measure of success as well. If you're doing both of those things, you're going to be all right.
Looking ahead, what excites you most about the future of real estate in Charlotte?
That's a great one. I think that what excites me the most and what's going to continue to excite me is just seeing how much growth that Charlotte's experiencing over the past little bit and seeing how it's been able to maintain that growth. Let's not forget Charlotte's also the number 2 banking hub of the United States, right behind New York and closely approaching, is that it's still considered an immature market. Right. So let's take Raleigh, for example, the capital of North Carolina. That Raleigh's what's considered a mature market, meaning there's not a whole lot more room for exponential growth. As big as Charlotte is and as much growth as we're currently seeing, it's still considered an immature market, which means there is a lot of room for exponential growth. So I think that's very exciting in general, especially for real estate, but regardless of what field you're in.
You could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice before starting this career. What would it be?
Ooh, all right. Full disclosure, I've only been doing this for just under a little under 2 years. But if I had to give myself some advice, I would say to keep pushing. I think when you're starting off in real estate, and especially if you're starting off like how I was, where I didn't have a whole lot of direction, I had to figure it out as I was going before I got to a company that was able to set me on the right path, is a lot of times keep in mind that when things feel the toughest and when they feel the most difficult, that's when you're the closest to getting where you want to be, right? So something that helped me was I just try to keep that mental fortitude that I was taught being in the Marine Corps and push through and ended up really benefiting. I just didn't know. I didn't know what was going to be on the other side. I was like, I'm just going to do this. Let's go. But I think the advice I gave myself was like, hey, like continue to push harder, you know? And then, oh, another good one is don't let your foot off the pedal. Don't let your foot off the pedal whenever you start hitting right, because it's super easy to get complacent. Complacency kills. That's what we used to say in the military. Outside of the military still applies. It might not literally kill you, but it will kill your career or it could
Yeah.
kill your career, right? So I started gaining a lot of momentum a little bit after I first started. Within my first 6, 7 months, I did 18 transactions, around 7 million GCI. And, that slower season, my first slower season, I took my foot off the pedal a little bit. Neff and I, we just had a child that we welcomed into the world and I wanted to take some time off. But regardless, you have to be super careful about that because it's super easy to get stuck in complacency and you're not going to realize how much longer it takes to get that momentum back until you're in a position where you have to try to get it back.
So, what's the life lesson from your journey so far that you'd like our listeners to take away from today's conversation?
Life lesson. I would say be a good person and try hard. Whatever you're doing, try to be the best at it. There's no real point in doing it. Take care of people along the way, whether they be customers, clients, definitely your family. Be a good person overall, and I think things will genuinely come around.
So, if our listeners are looking to connect with you, Connor, how can they connect with you?
Couple ways. Thank you. So you can connect with me via Facebook. My Facebook is Connor Wick. You'll see me. I have a professional and personal account. Instagram is Connor Wick95 or Connor Wick Real Estate. You'll be able to find me there. StephenCooley.com. You'll be able to find me there as well, and my information as well as my business card.
Thank you so much for joining this afternoon. And thank you for sharing your journey from the Marine Corps to real estate. I love how you've taken your passion for serving others and turned it into helping families navigate during their biggest transition.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for allowing me to do this opportunity. This is my first time doing anything like this, so it's been a fantastic experience. Thank you. Of
Thank you so much.
course.
If you enjoyed today's conversation, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss future insights from Carolina real estate leaders. And if you're a Carolina resident looking for health, life, or Medicare insurance guidance, our team is here to help.